everyone, and welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which I find out how to do business the moral way. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dog Cat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome again to Thursday, month end Thursday. Yes, at the end of the month. It's a very busy day for me today, as it usually is, because of spreadsheets and invoices and all types of crazy stuff. And that's consequently why I was late in posting the poll for the bingo card for this episode. We'll get to that momentarily, but before I get to that, who's joining me on this wonderful adventure into the wonderful world of wonderful, wonderful business? Why, that would be, if I can get to the chat box. Hello, chat box. Where did it go? Hello, chat box. What the heck just happened there? Okay, anyway, Jaeger Pony, hello. Chicago Mike, hello. The Magister, hello. Noah Asensio, hello. Keeverdam, hello. Septus Wolf, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. Brittany Holland, hello. Mike R, hello. Deco, hello. Viror of Ashmedai, hello. Rerum Trading, hello. Brittany Holland, hello. Again, I said it twice. Just as twice, be just as nice. Anyway, hello to you all, and anyone lurking, and anyone in the future. Shell D, hello. So, what do we have on the docket for this evening? Well, I had quite a selection of different things this week to choose from. What was the one that I didn't pick? Well, there was tackling gender parity at the top of the world's largest companies. There was sex and the sin of non-whiteness, better consent models for women of color. Man, I don't know. Those seem really heavy and everything. And then I saw this one and I thought, I haven't done a gender equity, equality in the business world thing recently, have I? I don't know. Besides which, he's from Germany, and I like me some German. And also the fact that it's from the International School Dusseldorf Women, and the speaker is a man, so I can only imagine where this guy's temperament sits. Anyway, risks of the gender equality business case. The risks of the gender equality business case. I try to decipher this a little bit and think to myself, what are the risks of the gender equality business case? Well, I have some thoughts that I'll obviously probably relay as we go through this, but there are a couple of things I'm both hoping and expecting to hear from our speaker. First and foremost, even though it's relatively boilerplate, a definition of what a business case is, so that we have some idea of what he's talking about. And secondly, what I expect to hear. I'm making a prediction. Okay. Now, as you know, I never watch these things ahead of time. I didn't read the description, but I have a feeling that somewhere in here, the phrase or something similar to "it's the right thing to do" will come up. I'm going to say I have some theories about what some arguments could be about what the risks of the gender equality business case are, if you're coming at it from the direction of an advocate for gender equality. Although I don't know that we're talking equality as an equality of opportunity. I have a feeling it's going to be equality of outcome, but I suppose we'll find out that together. Emperor W.R. Costin, hello. Roger Reynolds, hello. Anon123, hello. Lurking Gopher, hello. Tall Person, hello. And hello to you all. All right, so tonight's bingo card is bingo card B, so get out your bingo cards. Links are in the description. Also, if you would, take a look at the top of the chat box to the links to the GoFundMes up there for Shady Grin, Angry Illinoisian, and his kitten. They, their friends, and family could certainly use your help if you have a couple of bucks to spare. Bridget, hello. Asan, hello. Okay, I don't know. Should I start without Lexi Mads making herself known? I probably should, just to annoy her. Okay, well, with that, let's get on with it. This one starts off at 12 minutes and 35 seconds. I'll start with a couple of seconds for sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we'll begin to find out what the risks are in the gender equality business case.
Companies with gender diverse executive teams are 25% more likely to financially outperform their peers.
Oh, okay. Well, there's the thesis statement. Businesses with gender equality in their executive teams, 25% more than their peers. Wow. Just because of the mixture of genitals? Huh. Okay. One note, though, in prepping this video for the night, it starts out a little quieter than it ends up. Like I could just tell by the spikes on the audio that it's going to the audio is going to improve magically in a minute or three here. So if it sounds a little quiet right now, trust me, it gets better relatively shortly. So okay, so the claim is if the executive teams are gender balanced, I suppose, then they perform 25% better just on the basis of that alone. No other factors. Wow. Okay. Tell me more about this corn Führer. I'm sorry. I'm sure it is a fine and noble German name. Corn Führer.
Another study found that having at least 30% of a company's senior leadership group being females versus not having any women in this group at all leads to a 15% higher profitability on average.
Wow, just because of women. Just as long as you have a higher estrogen count in the room, profits go up. Wow, okay. Do you have a name for this study? You want to cite where you're getting your information from, by any chance?
These are impressive stats, aren't they?
They are impressive stats if they're A, accurate, and B, you have some evidence of what led to them being created. Gender equality business case. Okay. Equality. Okay.
And very compelling.
Well,
we can conclude that the gender equality business case is a no-brainer.
That is absolute nonsense. It is not a no-brainer. You have to make the case. Okay, okay.
Well, obviously not.
Yes.
Considering the shaming fact that, according to United Nations, women still occupy less than 30% of all managerial positions worldwide.
Is that due to a discriminatory practice, or is that due to personal choice in careers? Any thoughts on that?
Or considering the existence of a gender pay gap.
Gender pay gap? Oh, I'll take that as a wage gap. All right, going to the bingo card real quick. Let's see. We got wage gap. And just because reflexively, I will circle free space just on the off chance. Okay, let's go over the bingo card one more time. One time tonight at least, to remind ourselves what we're keeping our ears open for. Anecdote that probably never happened. Not yet. Also, this is bingo card B, everybody. Links are in the description. Self-vilification or wretchedness, not yet. Systemic institutional, I would not be surprised if we don't get there. Weightless example, not yet. Word salad, no. Leaves out vital context. Collectivizes own demographic. White supremacy, a list. Remember, that's a formal list. Has to be a bullet point on his cards or something else that he puts out there. Privilege. Sales pitch for product or service, we'll see. Plays victim, not yet. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Patriarchy, might get there. Feminism, might already be there. Mind reading assumes motives. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Did he say diverse already? I can't remember. Maybe. Marginalization, not yet. Argumentative non sequitur. Childhood or family anecdote. Contradicts own point or argument, benevolent condescension, and lastly, microaggressions, unconscious bias. So far on the board, we have free space and wage gap. Let's continue.
Which is not a problem somewhere far away. Here in Germany, the Federal Statistical Office needed to confess very recently, just a couple of weeks ago, that it is still at 18% and has not even improved compared to 2020. Okay,
well then... just out of curiosity, what would you suggest be done to correct for this problem? Like, to change that. If we're going purely on statistics and numbers, what would you do?
So the question is, why is it that so many companies hesitate and do not provide equal chances to both men and women?
Oh, so companies don't provide equal chances. Okay, and on your slide here, for those of you listening at home, it says gender pay gap 2021 in Germany, 18%. Pay gap. So it's not an earnings gap, it's a pay gap. So now I don't know nearly as much about what goes on in Germany as I do in America as far as these things go. So in Germany, it is legal to pay women less for the same work, is it? I have a feeling that's not the case, but you're not saying otherwise, and you're the speaker, so wow, Germany sucks, huh? Okay.
Notwithstanding that there's clear evidence for positive business case.
Clear evidence? What's the clear evidence? Because you said so? All right. Why does simply having women on your executive team equal more profits? You're not talking about merit. You're not talking about skills. You're not talking about education. Simply genitalia balance equals more money. Why?
Here, I'd like us to pause for a moment and to reflect if this is the right question to be asked.
Okay.
Does it require a business case to pursue gender equality?
It depends on how you define gender equality. Are you talking about equality of opportunity? Or are you talking about equality of outcome? And besides which, as far as the opportunity part, I am going to assume, and I know that I might be off, and someone can correct me if I'm off, by all means. I'm assuming that there are laws on the books in Germany that ensure that gender cannot be used in a discriminatory fashion in hiring in businesses there. So a business case, do tell.
I mean, when arguing with the gender equality business case, what exactly is the call to action here?
I don't know. What is the gender equality business case? You haven't even made it yet. You've given us some statistics without foundation, and you've made some claims about pay gap without explaining exactly how that is a thing. I mean, is it an earnings gap? Are you talking about equality of opportunity or equality of outcome? There's so many things I need you to explain to me first before you start asking me questions.
Something like, gentlemen, because obviously the vast majority of decision makers in companies are still male.
Okay, I'll take that as patriarchy. Circling patriarchy.
Sorry to bother you with this awkward topic, but it seems that there are really good reasons for you to treat women fairly in hiring, promoting, and rewarding. Hey, good news. You can make more money.
Treat them fairly. It sounds like you're talking about giving preference, not fairly, but then you haven't explained anything yet.
Is that what we want? We must stop using the business case when arguing for gender equality.
We must stop. Okay, because it's the wrong thing to do, or the... Okay. Again, if there is some lack of legal protection, right, against gender discrimination in employment in Germany, this doesn't make any sense on its face. Now, if Germany in 2022, in the current year, is so backwards as to not have such protections on the books, this might make some sense. Now, I don't know the laws of Germany, but like I say, I'm pretty sure that at this point in time, you're not allowed to deny someone employment on the basis of their gender outright. So, gentlemen, you can make money because you say so. Okay. Okay. Here's the question: who is denying women equal opportunity? Right. If you have proof of a company denying women equal opportunity for employment or promotion or whatever else, I am assuming that you can bring a lawsuit against that company if you have proof of this. If that is not the case, what are you talking about?
Doing so is as if we wanted to convince someone to bite the bullet for the sake of making more money. And it simply conveys the wrong message. It conveys the message that gender equality is about rationally deciding for an option with the higher economic return, such as, shall we invest in North America or in Asia Pacific? Or shall we launch product A or product B?
Wait. Your opening gambit was more women equals more profit. Your own argument is a business case. You're how many more metaphors can I come up with here? Your opening salvo in this particular gender war was that more women equals more money. So you were using a business case to sell this before we even got going, and now you're saying the business case is wrong. Yes, contradicts own point or argument. Circling that on the board. If the business case should be irrelevant, why are you bringing it up? Why should it even be a consideration? Hey guys, don't you want to make more money? If that is a non-factor, if that should be not a consideration when someone's talking about gender equality in the workplace, then why are you bringing it up?
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't believe in the validity of the gender equality business case.
Don't get you wrong. How could I possibly get you wrong? You say one thing, you come along later and say that the thing that you said earlier is not the thing that should be said, and now you're going back on that again.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In fact, I'm convinced about the causality between gender diverse teams and the company's effectiveness in decision making.
So it's not correlation, it's causation. Oh, okay. So are you going to prove to us the causation between merely having more women on an executive team equals better efficiencies and more profits? And by the way, guys, I apologize, not that I can do anything about it, about the sirens you might hear in the background. Something has been going on today, and it's been like sirens all over the place. So I'm assuming something crazy is going on. So if that happens, apologies. I can't do much about it.
Gender diverse teams and the company's effectiveness in decision making.
Oh, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Circling that one. All right.
It's innovation power and ultimately it's profitability. But that's not the point.
Then why do you keep bringing it up? If it's not the point, why did you open with it? Why do you keep dropping it? Is it because you don't have anything else to offer as incentive for something that is probably legally binding in the first place? But okay.
Using the business case and trying to motivate companies with the argument of the business case.
Does it cheapen the moral imperative of the inherent nature of gender equality?
With the argument of the business case, deflects attention from the fundamental fact that gender equality is a matter of human rights.
Oh, I said right thing to do. He said human rights. Yeah, okay. So again, are there no laws in Germany ensuring equal opportunity? Are there or are there not?
Shouldn't everyone provide equal chances to both men and women? Is that really something we have to argue about? I mean,
okay, who are you arguing this to? I suppose if you're arguing this to an international audience, if you're arguing it to countries that don't have such laws or protections, then this might make some kind of sense. But so far, you've only referenced Germany, and you're speaking in English. So, which is it?
I mean, we're talking about intelligent people here, right? Decision makers in companies. They should be capable of getting it. We must stop using the business arguing for gender equality.
Okay, that sound cutout was the original video. That wasn't me. And that is
quality.
What the heck is... Okay, I'm going to back up a bit just to make sure that I'm not going nuts here.
Arguing for gender equality.
Yeah, no, that's the video.
Quality requires the convincing arguments of higher profits. This argument, anyhow, from my perspective, falls short in so many situations. I'm wondering, does it also apply to companies that are very profitable? What about not-for-profit organizations? And what does this way of arguing make with the decision makers themselves? And with that, ultimately our society?
Okay, well, here's the thing. He's not actually made, or at least not so far. There's still several minutes left in this. He has not actually made a business case. Okay. Now, because it doesn't seem like he's going to, and for the sake of edification, I know this is relatively simple, but just so that we all know what page we're on. What is a business case? A business case is you come up with an idea, let's say, for your company that you think is going to either make money for the company or save money for the company or benefit the company in some way, shape, or form. And you go to your boss and say, hey, boss, I have this idea. And the boss says, okay, make me a business case for it. As in, you have to show me information and evidence that making this decision and spending company time and or resources or whatever to make this thing happen will actually benefit the company or has a relatively good chance in benefiting the company. So like, hey, boss, the phone service company we use right now, there's this other company, Company B, that's got the same service but for less money. And boss says, okay, make the business case. And so you get out all the information on Company A and what you're currently paying. You get all the information on Company B and what they're currently charging. You show the boss the differential. You show them how it's going to be a benefit. And you can say, hey, look, projected over the course of the next 3 years, we'll save 10% in our phone bills overall, etc. And boss goes, okay, you've made the business case. There you go. That's a business case. If you're going to make a business case that's simply adding women to your executive team, seemingly and implicitly artificially, just doing it because they're women, you need to prove that merely the balance of genitals in the room equal profits. And I have a distinct feeling that his believing in the causation is not going to be good enough. But then we're not talking about equality of opportunity here. He's talking about outcomes. He's talking about populating workforces and executive teams with percentages. So when he's talking about opportunity, he's not talking about opportunity. He's trying to mask what he's talking about, and he's doing a very poor job of it.
Our way of thinking about women's rights, fairness, and respect gets manipulated to see gender equality as a necessary evil.
Who does this? Who's we? Give me an example. You must have a bad acting company out there that you can name. And then you'll tell us that company represents the majority of companies, right? You have something to offer to back up all the stuff that you're saying, right?
And it's just imagine how it would probably look like anyhow if a company just like accepted the necessity for gender diverse and gender equal HR policies in their pursuit of higher profits.
Okay, again, first off, not knowing the laws in Germany, at least speaking from the American perspective, does gender discrimination take place in businesses? Sure. Is it legal? No. If you can prove that it's happening, you get a big fat paycheck in a lawsuit. And also, gender equality equals some badly drawn manga character. And by the way, if that's actually an actual manga character that somebody out there loves and is all like, simping over, it's still badly drawn. Yeah.
Would they ensure 100% fairness? Would they invest in inclusion?
Inclusion? Already have inclusion circled. Okay, my reflexes are off there.
Or would they rather strive to fulfill a quota and possibly even exclude women from decision-making, even though they had officially a seat at the table?
You are advocating for quotas. You are advocating for quotas. You're talking percentages of women, increasing the executive board by simply 30%. Okay, well, at some point, if you reach that parity that you're talking about there, that you've got on your little scale graphic there, 50%, how do you maintain 50%? Well, if a guy retires, you're going to have to put a guy in his spot, right? And deny a woman an opportunity. Are you listening to yourself?
So,
how
do we get there?
I don't know.
What can we do to make gender equality, we call it common sense?
Okay, where in the Western world, okay, let's just say the Western world, where is it not common sense? And beyond that, where is it not written in law? Is there not a law in Germany guaranteeing equal opportunity? Someone in the chat, I'm going to look at the chat now. Sorry, I've been paying attention to everything else. if anybody knows or can look it up real quick, does there not exist laws in Germany verifying and guaranteeing a lack of discrimination in employment opportunities on the basis of gender? Is that a yes or no? If there does not exist such laws in Germany, if it is up to every company to make that decision, very well. I mean, I don't know for a fact one way or the other, but I'm really curious to know what he's talking about or what he's referencing. Unless he's talking to an international audience of countries that don't have such laws, but he hasn't made that specific in any way, shape, or form. He talked about Germany. He's talked about the U.S. I don't know. Let me go to the chat real quick, just for a couple of things here. Tall Person says, that is a badly drawn picture of the main character from Tokyo Ghoul. Well, I wasn't aware that there was a manga for it, but hey, I was right, even though it's pretty bad. And let's see. Ebony Williams. Good evening, Ebony Williams. Is this about bringing about the best work ethic or fulfilling a quota? So far, he's only talking about numbers. He's not talking about, merit, ability, educational standards, anything like that. He hasn't said anything other than gender equity or equity. Gender equity equals profits. But you shouldn't make the profits case because that's too mercenary for this thing because it's a human right. It's a human right that people should just be given jobs on the basis of their gender. I don't know. Let's see. Ostsand, the Pay Transparency Act is cited as Germany's main pay equity law. Okay, so when he shows the pay gap in Germany of 18% between what men, he says are paid versus what women are paid, well then that column with the guys in it, all those companies must be breaking the law then, right? I think what he actually means is an earnings gap. That is usually the thing that is conflated with pay gap. So if he knows of those companies that are actually paying men more and literally and intentionally paying women less, well, there's a whole lot of lawsuits there, right? The Magister, thank you so much. The State Anti-Discrimination Act prohibits the discrimination on the grounds of gender, ethnic origin, racial association, religion, disability, chronic illness, age, language, sexual, or gender. Okay, so it is illegal in Germany to both either pay people differently on the basis of their gender or hire, promote, etc., fire on the basis of gender. Okay, so far he's referenced Germany specifically, speaking in English. I think he mentioned America at one point. So I have no idea what he's talking about, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't either. But then, according to the title of this presentation and its location, he may be talking to an audience of women who already believe what he says to be true. So,
to make gender equality, we call it common sense. In the end, of course, we can all be part of the solution, right?
Mm-hmm. The solution? Jawohl, Kornführer. The solution? Oh, I'm terrible.
But I think we should start with accepting that we are also part of the problem.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to self-vilification or wretchedness right there. Yeah, okay.
Situation we're talking about here is this vicious circle of having many male decision makers in companies not providing fair chances to women.
Okay. I'm also, just because it's a knock-on effect and everything else, I'm also going to circle feminism. All right. So just to review, so far I have circled on the board self-vilification or wretchedness, free space, wage gap, patriarchy, feminism, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and contradicts own point or argument. I'm inclined to circle mind reading assumes motives because it seems like he's assuming that anybody he's talking to, at least the majority of the audience that he would be talking to and is referring to, doesn't already see equality of opportunity as a no-brainer or as common sense. So in fact, I am going to circle. I'm a circle of mind reading assumes motives. So there we go.
And I said it before. These are intelligent people, right? Otherwise, they would not be in their positions.
I hate to tell you this, It is a sad fact of life. Someone in a leadership position does not inherently equate to them being intelligent. It really does come down to a case-by-case basis. So if you're assuming excellence on the basis of a title, no.
Intelligent people? Yes. But also human beings.
Oh.
And as human beings,
Yes.
all of us,
Mm-hmm.
we are subject to social categorization.
Oh, okay. Well, I know it's a little bit loosey-goosey, but I'm going to collectivize his own demographic. I mean, it is about as, common denominator as you can get, human beings, but he did do it, so it counts.
Thinking in us versus them. And our vicious circle problem doesn't help here. Question for you.
Okay.
Has anyone ever heard of the similarity attraction theory?
The similarity attraction theory. Oh, you mean like birds of a feather? Have you ever heard of there was this great academic thesis. It came out, I want to say it was like 93 or 1994. It was authored by the very famous scholars Paula Abdul and MC Scatcat, and it was titled "Opposites Attract." Now, I don't know if you've ever taken time to analyze that thesis, but that theory also exists. Just so you know.
Well, I have to confess that lighting on the stage is stronger than I expected, so I can't see any hands anyhow. Let's assume that not everyone has heard of the similarity attraction theory.
Well, let's just say it's probably a safer bet that you don't see a bunch of raised hands in an auditorium being overseen by the Corn Führer. I'm sorry, but only a little bit.
So let me tell you, was confirmed, of course, by numerous studies.
Numerous. So like more than one. Is it two? Is it two studies?
But it basically states that people have more positive interactions and form more positive relations with those individuals that show a high degree of similarity to them.
Oh, you need to explain this in Germany, do you?
In daily decision-making, people simply don't rationalize.
Oh.
And positive odds of a gender equality business case would become secondary anyhow.
Okay, that counts for unconscious bias in my book, so I'm going to circle microaggressions unconscious bias.
Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman describes it so brilliantly when he talks about System 1 and System 2 thinking.
Oh, systemic institutional, circling that. Boy, oh boy, we're on a roll now.
System 2 thinking is our rational way of thinking, when we take time to analyze a situation, and it helps us to solve complex tasks. This way of thinking also reacts positively to the argument of a gender equality business case.
But I thought the gender equality business case was not something that should be brought up because it's just common sense and a human right. Okay.
This is why ultimately no one disagrees with it. Everyone gets it, everyone agrees after having thought about it.
Okay, if everyone agrees after having thought about it, then why are you implying that people are pushing back against it if everyone agrees? I can only circle contradicts own point or argument so many times. And also, I think System 1, System 2, that's a list. It's a short list, but it's a list, circling a list.
And yet, we are miles away from gender equality because we normally think using our System 1. Quickly, automatically, no huge efforts. And this is when similarity attraction takes control.
Okay, so in Germany, just so I understand, men in Germany, because that was the example you used, are paid 18% more than women, just because they're men and just because they're women, because all the men in Germany have decided that they only like men and they hate women. Not because they're thinking rationally, but because they're thinking reflexively. Not that there are laws they may be risking breaking and being liable for and being fined and or I don't know if there's any jail involved, but either way, potential federal violations of the law as their business. But they're willing to take these risks because they can't help their reflexive, unconscious bias towards people that are like them. But yet everybody knows it's the right thing to do, but a lot of companies aren't doing it anyway because they can't help themselves, because they're all controlled by men. And only men would ever be discriminatory on the basis of gender. So does that mean that every company run by a woman has gender equality? I don't know. These are all questions I know I won't get answers to.
So what is important for us is to understand and to acknowledge that we have biases.
Yes, everyone has biases. That, the fact that everyone has biases makes them effectively an irrelevant thing to bring up. Unless you can prove an outright and intentional bias against women in a particular instance or company, everybody has biases means nothing. It's like everybody has red blood cells. What does that say about anything? It says nothing. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Question: was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Is that like a Harry Turtledove alternate history novel? It probably is. Probably is. Or like The Man in the High Castle or something. It's over. No, I mean, okay. Well, here's the thing. Was a healthy at any size female individual singing at the time? If not, then no, it wasn't over.
Biases that possibly even exacerbate the situation.
I don't know.
Let's take me as an example.
Oh, you as an example? Oh boy. Oh boy. Are you going to play victim? Oh, no, I've already circled self-vilification, so I can't do that one again. Okay, you as an example. All right, well, you're opening up the door.
I think it's fair to say that I'm engaged in gender equality.
You think it's fair to say you're engaged in gender equality? Well, I mean, if you say so.
Well, at least as long as we assume that I'm not only standing here right now just because I had nothing else to do on a Saturday afternoon. So, consequently, I have no biases whatsoever regarding women in the workplace.
You don't? You don't. Okay, you're going to follow up with some kind of, ironic counterpoint, right? Because your whole discussion started out by saying having more women on the executive team equaled more profits. All right. You didn't say that gender balance. You said having more women. So this is a joke, right? This is the setup to a joke. There's going to be a punchline in a second. You're gonna dissuade us of that statement right now, right? Because it's a joke, a Germanic joke.
Under different circumstances, I would ask you to raise your hand if you had heard of the Harvard Implicit Association test. But again, I assume that not everyone has. So,
I have. I totally have. I've done a couple of videos on it, like 5 years ago. I did, and you know what? Everybody kept saying, that proved that's a racism test. Except it wasn't. And it didn't prove that. Are you using the Harvard implicit bias test? Are you going to use that as evidence here? Oh, boy, well, I'm glad I'm educated. But you weren't joking. You weren't joking. You have no biases about women in the workplace. I don't have anything like outright lie on my bingo card. Okay. Or should that be benevolent condescension? Yeah, I'm going to wait.
So just like grab your cell phones if you have them with you and scan the code that gets visible now.
What?
It directs you directly to the starting page of this implicit association test. Feel also free to continue listening to me and to check out the details only a little later. So this implicit association test, it allows you to actually test your biases. You can select from a couple of categories, but the good news is it's for free.
It also doesn't tell you whether or not you're biased. It might just tell you about familiarity more than a bias. This is the thing about that test. And I went into a bit more depth in some videos a long time ago. Like this is stuff that I think I did a video from like BuzzFeed on or something way back in the day, and a couple of times. I haven't heard about that in years now. There might be a reason, but okay.
Which is great. What I would recommend especially is the gender career implicit association test.
Oh, okay.
It welcomes you on the starting page. Maybe I had to say it warns you, saying that this test often reveals a relative link between career and male and family and female.
Why might that be, do you think? You got any comeback on that one?
But we are not surprised about that, are we? We knew
Well, you're right. I'm not surprised. Should I be?
that before.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's not true for me.
Oh, you are free of all bias, even though you said everybody has biases. You have no biases regarding women.
So this test takes you like some 5 to 10 minutes approximately. Very easy, very straightforward.
Yeah, and probably not very scientifically accurate over the course of things because it's an internet test. But okay.
You're shown male and female names as well as terms that relate to either family or to career. And the only thing you have to do is to assign those names and those terms by clicking either the E or the I on your keyboard.
Okay, and being given the foreknowledge of what this test is for, and in the context of your talk, there is no way that you are imparting anyone in the audience, if they were to actually take this test, with any bias or guilt-tripped shaming anti-bias or reverse bias or alternate bias at all. You're not actually stacking the deck on whatever someone might end up putting into this thing, given how you're presenting it. Okay.
Nothing else. The terms, the names, they are shown randomly, and well, of course, they wouldn't call it a test if nothing was evaluated. What they do assess actually is your response time as well as the accuracy of your responses.
The accuracy? The accuracy. I thought, what? So there are right and wrong answers to this quiz about how you interpret things? Okay.
Luckily, I don't have any biases, and I rationally understand the necessity, yes, the urgent need for gender equality.
I keep waiting for him to make that a punchline. Like, I don't have any biases. I keep thinking he's saying that, like, ironically. Like he's... I really hope that's what he's doing. Because if he's being serious right now, if he's not setting us up for some kind of, like, joke, or he's, like, not pretending or taking on the role of, you know, the person in a business who claims to have no biases, if he actually is saying that about himself, that is nuts.
I guess you know what's coming, right? My results. Your responses suggested a slight automatic association for male with career and female with family.
Okay. I am assured. It's that dry, deadpan Germanic humor that got me thrown. He almost convinced me. It was so flat. Okay.
Wait, what? It goes without saying that I didn't trust the results.
Wait, you tell us everybody has biases. You go into a test on implicit association going like, I'm perfectly balanced in every way. I am Thanos's blade. And then, okay. I don't know. Is that an anecdote that never happened? I see. The thing is, I could believe that this guy actually did that. That's kind of the problem.
Most likely there was like bad weather, unstable internet connection. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So I took the test again.
Uh-huh.
And again.
Uh-huh.
And another time.
Okay. Sounds a little manic, but okay. And?
Didn't get better. In one of my attempts, I even scored a strong automatic association instead of a slight one. And this automatic association refers exactly to our system 1 thinking that drives our daily behavior and our decisions, because we simply don't stop every other second to reflect on what we're doing and what we are thinking.
Okay, so how often during the course of your day do you discriminate against women in the workplace insofar as promotion, employment, and so on? I mean, you must do it then, right? Because if that test said you had that quality about you, then you must be actively sexist every day, right? And anybody else taking that test who had a similar result must be a terrible person, and they don't believe in gender equality, right? Because associating familial things with females and business or technical things with males means you don't believe in the equality of opportunity for the genders. You know, I think there is a flaw in your logic. You might want to exercise that system 2 aspect a little bit more than your system 1 in your rationale there.
Yeah.
Also, your wrapped text screwed up on your card there because Strawn doesn't have a G and the G's floating at the bottom and it looks like a cutoff Q. But maybe that's just me being nitpicky. Maybe that's my system 2 brain thinking too much.
We are thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, we can be part of the solution, but we have to acknowledge that we are part of the problem.
Associating familial subjects or concepts with femininity and more technical or work-oriented or provider-oriented stuff with masculinity is not a problem. It is observable reality. Because if you're going to say that the results of that test show that you are part of the problem, why are you on this stage? How can you feel at all legitimized in arguing for gender equality when obviously this test tells us that you don't believe in that by your own logic here?
As long as we are not aware of our biases that prevent us from seeing gender equality as a human right.
I thought everybody agreed that gender equality was a human right. I thought it was codified into law in your own country and in mine. You see, here's the thing. Why do laws exist? I've made this argument several times in the past. Why do laws exist? Okay. Laws are an admission of human failing, right? They are an admission of human failing. And they are agreed upon by society that under all rational, pragmatic circumstances, these are things that we understand that people will end up doing. And that's why we make laws with consequences to incentivize even those who would do those things to not do those things, because we understand that human beings may do those things. Okay? That's why we have laws. They are a confession of human weakness and a societal promise to one another that we will all work and agree to get beyond them and to punish those that violate them. Right? Okay. So you have laws in Germany. There's a reason for this. That even if you have biases, there are consequences to enacting them if they are to the detriment of somebody else's rights. Now I got a leaf blower or something outside. I hope that's not bugging you guys. Oh man, what is it with today? Sirens and leaf blowers at this time of night? Come on.
We cannot condemn what happens to women on a societal level, such as restricted access to education, violence, forced marriage.
Whoa. What? Restricted access to education, violence, and forced marriage. Okay, well, I don't know what goes on in Germany, but if we're talking globally, yes, in the sense that, no, I don't condone those things. Let me back up just to make sure I got that, because that came out of nowhere. Forced marriage. That might be a weightless example here, or a argumentative non sequitur or something here.
We cannot condemn what happens to women on a societal level, such as restricted access to education, violence, forced marriage, and at the same time treat women unfairly in the workplace.
Whoa. You haven't proven that anybody's been treated unfairly in the workplace. You have brought up a earnings gap, because if it was an actual pay gap, then there would be a large swath of German businesses that are violating law. You brought up an earnings gap. You haven't proven in any way, shape, or form that women are being treated unfairly in the workplace. You've shown a demographic disparity in a couple of places. And as we know, a disparity does not inherently equate to an inequity. You haven't proven that. So, I don't know. Is that argumentative non sequitur or weightless example? And the more that I look at those two squares, I'm wondering if I shouldn't just merge them together in some way, shape, or form and just call it even. Or find another way to phrase it so that they are more distinct. Jesus.
This is wrongdoing as well.
If you were actually doing that in the workplace, that is a violation of written law, then yes. Yes, it would be. But you haven't proven that anything you've shown us so far is a result of that explicitly.
And no individual parental education, no cultural differences, nothing justifies unfair treatment.
I hate to tell you this, but depending on which culture you are living in and country you are residing upon, let's say, it may justify it to those that run the country, run the culture, run the government, etc. You know, in the civilized, rational, world, yes, we've hopefully, for the most part, especially in our laws, have moved beyond those things as being just commonplace, acceptable, and so on. But you're unfortunately not speaking for everybody. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, we can be part of the solution.
Every time he says solution in his accent, Kornführer, okay. What is the solution? You have not yet said how to solve for the problem of inherent bias. How do I make myself part of what will solve this problem? Please tell me. You've got 1 minute and 35 seconds left to do so.
But we have to be aware of our biases.
Yes, okay.
And looking at gender equality through the lens of the business case suggests that all of our decisions are exclusively well thought through and thoroughly analyzed, but they are not.
What? No one has to make a business case for gender equality in Germany. The case has been made. But then you're not talking about equality of opportunity. You're talking about equality of outcome. So if I go to my boss and I want to make a case for gender equality of outcome, I'm going to be laughed out of the room because it would violate the law. If you want to set a 50% or 30% quota or whatever for your executive team, that would require what again? Yes, gender discrimination to reach those numbers. Nothing you are saying makes any sense when held up against reality.
I think as society, and that of course includes the private sector, we are facing enormous challenges.
Like?
Not leveraging the power of gender-balanced decision-making.
The power of gender-balanced decision-making. What is the power of gender-balanced decision-making? Because, I experienced the power of gender-balanced decision-making in my house growing up because I had one dad and one mom. And when it came to decision-making, Boy, oh boy, was there ever some power there. Everything was completely smooth sailing when it What are you talking? Okay. Only just over the line. Only just over the line. It's not the worst I've ever heard because my tolerance is pretty high at this point, but
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
yes, gender balanced decision making is going to be as powerful all by itself. Just the balance of genders. Never mind ability, skill, education, experience, etc. Just gender balanced decision making. Okay. What am I looking at on the board here? Okay, well, first and foremost, because we're not even there, leaves out vital context. He never cited his studies. He never showed us any proof of what he's talking about. I know we're almost at the end, but I'm doing this anyway. Word salad, yeah, that last part and several points in between, circling word salad. So just as a review before we get to the end here, I have circled self-vilification or wretchedness, systemic institutional, word salad, leaves out vital context, collectivizes own demographic, a list, free space, wage gap, patriarchy, feminism, mind reading assumes motives, diversity, equity, and inclusion, contradicts own point or argument, and lastly, microaggressions, unconscious bias. And I circled the whole card ahead of time. So there you go. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Is it me or does this guy sound like a foe for Maxwell Smart? Oh my God. Get Smart. What a great show. What a great show. Don Adams. Oh boy. What a loss. Inspector Gadget. Okay. All right. Well, you have a minute. Wow me in a minute there, Corn Führer.
It's definitely not a good way to start off with.
Okay. What is not a definitely? Sorry, I'm going to back up.
And that, of course, includes the private sector.
Yes.
We are facing enormous challenges.
Sure.
Not leveraging the power of gender-balanced decision-making is definitely not a good way to start off with.
Okay.
We're living in a pandemic for a little more than 2 years now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, and there are some encouraging signs here and there, hopefully we have a chance of getting back to normality, even though a new normality fairly soon.
What?
And when that happens, join me in going out there and challenge biases.
How?
But watch out. These are not necessarily only biases that you can observe there.
What? You
will find them here.
Call
out inequality.
How?
And I'm not going to explain why it is paramount to do so. This is the no-brainer in the equation.
I'm not going to Well, you know, that has been the running theme throughout this entire presentation, not explaining things.
And last but not least, dismiss the business case.
I'm not going to repeat myself.
We must stop using the business case when arguing for gender equality and finally understand that gender equality is an urgently needed matter of social justice, which, as a nice side effect, has also a positive business case. Thank you very much.
Stop using the business case, but also, you know, it's a positive business case. Good. Okay. The pandemic. Yeah, I'm going to circle that one as argumentative non sequitur. That came out of nowhere, had nothing to do with anything, doesn't mean anything to anything. But because I circled that.
Bingo. What? Of course!
We have our first bingo. And speaking of which, let's go to the bingo card to get ourselves oriented to, well, the bingo card. So there it is there. Good. It's all clear there. Save this here. Refresh this there. And there we go. That's where we're at right now, guys, if you can believe it. One bingo down from the O to the B. And we have several other squares to go. We're on the edge of several bingos. So let's go over this one more time. Anecdote that probably... Okay, well, I'll go over it one more time. If you have arguments for squares to be circled, hold on to them, and we'll get to them shortly. Anecdote that probably never happened. Did he give us an anecdote? like an actual and actionable anecdote? I don't think so. Weightless example. Now, this is a tough one because I kept hedging on, what is a weightless example? I'm inclined to say that the implicit association test is a weightless example because it doesn't prove what he was implying it proves. It doesn't mean you are against gender equality or equal opportunity. That you might associate more family-oriented subjects or concepts with females as opposed to males does not mean you are inherently evil, sexist, discriminatory, anything else. That's how he decided to interpret it, and that is wrong. So I'm going to circle weightless example on that basis. Okay, here's that. White supremacy. We're in Germany, and we got Kornführer up there. He never brought up race. That is going to be the hill you guys in the audience are going to have to climb if you're going to make an argument for that square to be circled, because he never brought up race. Gender, obviously, yes. Race, no. So I'll need a really good argument for that one. Privilege. It is implied heavily in the pay gap and the men running all the companies and etc. Yeah, so there was definitely a privilege theme going on. So I'll take that one. Sales pitch for product or service. He never did. He never brought up a particular company. He never brought up a service. He never even told us what he does for a living. So that's going to be a tough one. I don't think we can get there with that one. Plays victim. No, he never categorized himself as a victim. As part of the problem, self-vilification, yes. That he was suffering as a result of this, no. And I'm just as a preemptive, I'm not going to say that him failing, quote unquote, failing that test so many times was him being persecuted by the test. That I don't think that works, but I'm open to other arguments, but that's going to be a tough one. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. I didn't hear anything new from him here. Nothing new. Marginalization. It's pretty strongly implied throughout the course of the thing that obviously the marginalized, set aside, not given enough opportunity demographic is women, right? Women are the victims here, and they're being set aside and not given enough attention to, and they're being ignored and so on. So with that is this. And with that...
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Right?
Yeah!
Oh, won't somebody please?
Bingo. B-I-N-G-O.
Okay!
Right?
Double bingo, and therefore we are at a triple bingo right now. All right, let's continue. Childhood or family anecdote. He never brought up his childhood or family. That is, if anything else goes down, that is the one square that's going to prevent us from having a total blackout on the card. Benevolent condescension. Do you think? Maybe just a little bit? Yeah, I think so. Gender equality is a human right. It's common sense. Don't you know? Everybody has biases. Yeah, okay. So there we go, guys. That is where I'm at on the bingo card. A very full card already. If this had been card A or C, we might be on our way to several other bingos now. But that's where we're at. We got 1, 2, 3 bingos. Can you bring us to more, oh audience? It's your time. If you have an argument to be made, please put it in the chat now and tag me in it. If you've made a argument previously that has rolled up since then, just repost it. Don't say you missed my argument, because I'll just say, yes, I did. Let's see. Magister, him pimping out the test and asking people to take it while listening to him for us. Ooh. You know what? I should have thought of that. That you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Yeah. No, you're right. Good call. Good call, Magister. Magister, you got that one there. Okay, we're even closer now. or even closer. Oh boy, guys, we are on the edge of a couple other bingos here. If somebody can give me a really good argument, and it has to be a really good argument for anecdote that probably never happened, there is an additional 3 bingos we're going to get out of that. Okay. But it's going to have to be stellar, because I'm not going to skimp on the justification for that one. Let's see. So I'll wait a second here, because I'm sure some of you are crafting some very good arguments. Lexi Mads, hello. Ken Lee, hello. Data Wasteland, hello. And any other hellos that I might have missed so far if I see you. Og Nibiruth, the new Lovecraftian demon. If you say so, I guess. Okay. Let's see. Bridget. Familial anecdote, as he had the bias test involving familial traits. A bit unconventional, but it is an anecdote involving family. No, that's not a childhood or family anecdote. Sorry. Nice try. I mean, the word familial came up, but that's not the substance of the square. The substance of the square is him. Classically speaking, you bring up some example from your own childhood and or family to bolster your argument, and he never did that. So, sorry, Bridget, no. Kanan Crystal Wing, hey, Scribe, only got 1 bingo. Wow. We got a couple bingos now. We got 3. We got diagonal, and we got down here, and we got across here. We got 3 bingos so far. There's room for more. We'll see. Data Wasteland. Hey, Scribbles, how about doing an investigation of the coined gender? Before him, there was no gender. The coined the term gender? The story that always comes to mind is that what was it? The doctor's last name was Money. Is that him? Isn't he the guy that came up with like cisgender or something? I forget now. Is that who you're talking about? I remember, I think it was Mr. Medicare, back when he was Internet Aristocrat, did a brief little kind of documentary on that. If that's what you're talking about, I'm searching my brain there. Let's see. Lexi Mads, I do not believe he took the bias test and came out with no biases and took it over and over, X to doubt, unless I heard him wrong. No, he was saying that before going into the test, he did not believe he possessed any biases. And then he took the test, and the test kept telling him that, yes, you do actually possess biases. And that's why he kept taking it over and over, because he was sure the test had to be wrong, because, he has biases. It was his very dry, flat German wit that made me think that maybe he was being serious there for a couple of minutes, because I kept waiting for that punchline to drop. Ebony Williams, John Money. That's what it was, John Money. See, for some reason, I thought it was spelled M-U-N-N-Y for some reason. But anyway, yes, John Money. Is that who you meant, Data Wasteland? If not, either way, I don't know about doing an investigation on that. I don't know if that's quite up my alley. I'm sure it's been done better by people who know much more about that stuff than I do. Let's see. Data Wasteland, Scribbles, he took twin boys and made one of them. Yep, that's what it was. Yep, John Money. Yeah, I know that story. I think if anybody wants to know the story of John Money, there are plenty of people out there who've done exceptional documentaries on him at this point, and I would probably not be doing myself or anybody else any favors by trying to do it myself. But I appreciate the thought. Any other arguments for squares to be circled, guys? Anecdote that probably never happened. White supremacy, plays victim, attempt to coin new buzzword, buzzphrase, childhood. Those are so specific that, yeah, he never brought up race. He never brought up his own growing up or anything. He never said anything that was new or like a new phrase or he brought up everybody else's stuff. And he never really anecdoted anything in general that we could weigh as being false or true. So I think we might be at the end of our proverbial bingo circling rope. So there you go. All right. Well, there you go, guys. The perils of the gender equality business case. I was thinking, here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that he was going to make, and he kind of did. I suppose he kind of did. He was going to make one of 2 arguments or both. In the one argument, it was going to be something to the effect of, I go to the boss and say, we need gender equality here. And boss says, give me the business case. And I say, I don't have to make a business case. It's the right thing to do. I was expecting something like that. And he kind of got there with the it's a human right kind of thing. Right. The second thing I was thinking was, hey, boss, we need gender equality in the workplace. And it says, give me the business case. And then I attempt to prove that there is an inherent and obvious profit increase simply on the basis of balancing the genitals in the room. Right? I actually have to give evidence of this, that simply balancing out men and women in the workplace, in the executive committee, whatever, will inherently and inevitably lead to better outcomes for the company. And since that is simply on the basis of gender an impossibility, then it is simply a trap. The business case for gender equality is inherently a no-go, which means that any business can just set aside your argument because we'll maintain the status quo because you can't prove the business case. Those are those. I was assuming two of those, one or both of those things would be in there. The moral case was basically made, more or less. On the flip side, though, he never did prove the business case, even though you shouldn't have to make a business case because business cases are bad and you shouldn't have to make business cases. But by the way, there's a business case for women in the workplace, even though I've said I'm not going to make the business case because the business case is bad. Anyway, there you go, everyone. We have, let's count them. We have 1, 2, 3 bingos, and we had a WTF. So the bingo card is already circled, so don't even remind me about that. And with that, I'm going to call this one to a close. Programming note, there will be a Sunday stream this weekend, if you can believe it, on Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, where I'll do, the Sunday stream, where I go over a thing that I haven't chosen yet, because I usually pick that out on Saturday. And I might do something special on Monday, because I do have the day off, and it is the 4th of July. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll see. It might be a one-off thing, might be something special. I might have a guest on if I can swing it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Keep your eyes open on my Twitter for that. I'll give you notification when and about that happens. You can follow me there at scribe_light. So thank you for that. Otherwise, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful episode of TED Excellence, where we learned almost nothing. I swear, one of these days, I'm going to pick one of these things and we will learn something other than how to make a bad argument, which is valuable in and of itself in a way, but not nearly as interesting. But hopefully I made it interesting, and you did too. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself or to any of the GoFundMes pinned at the top of the chat box, thank you so much for your generosity. We really do appreciate it. Everybody, again, thank you for joining me. I hope you are all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.